Speaker of the House, Bill Howell. Mr. Speaker, great to have you.
Oh, John, it's always good to be here. Thank you very much.
Okay, now, I want to get right to Terry McAuliffe. I know you guys, you've had a little bit of a frosty relationship at times. I guess that's an understatement. But the governor, signed the 2015, basically, Republican budget that was submitted. Now, Mr. Speaker, as you know, you're a student of history. This is the first time in 17 years that a Virginia governor has signed the budget without any amendments or any vetoes. Now, Mr. Speaker, I know you're a really nice guy, but I really doubt this is because all of a sudden Terry McAuliffe got up one day and said, wow, Bill Howell, Kirk Cox, Tommy Norman, these are all my friends. What happened?
Well, it's a good budget. And I think he recognized that. It really does show, John, how if we can work together with our Republican colleagues in the Senate, which we have done, which we did this year, we were able to come up with good budget amendments. We passed, as you said, it's a strong conservative and it's a responsible budget. As you pointed out a moment ago, we're spending $1 billion less from the general fund than in the original budget that was passed last year. The governor had injected, once again, Obamacare's Medicaid expansion, which we quickly rejected. The governor, in his budget amendments, had about $11.7 million in new fees, and we eliminated them. He was going to borrow about $33 million for different projects. We're paying for that with cash. And it's just a solid budget, and I think he recognized that.
And so, but normally you get some amendments, right?
Yeah. As you pointed out, this hasn't happened since the first term of Jim Gilmore, I believe, 1998. And but again, I think it's a strong testament to a very good budget that the conferees were able to come up with.
Mm-hmm. Now, the governor's also indicated, Mr. Speaker, that he's going to veto the absentee ballot photo ID requirement. I mean, this is just another one of those common sense things. I mean, if you're going to vote in Virginia, whether it be absentee or show up at the polling place, it is befuddling to me why you simply can't provide proof of who you are. What's the deal?
Well, I have no idea. I couldn't agree with you more about the necessity of photo ID. It's something that a huge majority of the population agrees with. It's something that's just common sense. And to veto this bill is, I think he's just trying to make a play for the Democrat Party base. And I think that's probably the reason by several of his vetoes.
I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, moderate. You want to protect the sanctity of the voting process. And so providing a simple ID. Look, I couldn't take the Greyhound today from Norfolk to Fredericksburg if I didn't have some kind of ID. For $9, they wouldn't let me on. And so it just doesn't make any sense. Now I want to get to the Tebow bill, which I just had Delegate Chris Head on a few minutes ago, and we were complaining about that veto. What's the thinking there?
Well, again, it's Rob Bell from Albemarle has championed this for many years, and for the first time it passed the House and passed the Senate, and the governor has indicated he's going to veto it, and of course I'll be disappointed if he does. It's just a common sense bill that gives students opportunities. Earlier in the year, I met a young man, Patrick Foss, who's a standout player on UVA national championship soccer team. He was homeschooled, and he couldn't play high school sports in Loudoun County. Worked out okay for him, but there's a lot of kids that don't get the chance to play in organized sports, and I don't understand the logic behind it. But
well, there's no logic. We were saying earlier with Delegate Head that it's just this constant reaction to the teachers' lobby and to the teachers' unions, not in Virginia necessarily, but across the United States, is so massive. And, there's a lot of money that gets thrown in, but for the life of me, I can't understand it. You're already paying. If you're homeschooling your child, you're paying property taxes either through your home ownership or through rental. Somebody else is paying it, so you're already paying the taxes. So it isn't as if you're not funding the process. I mean, I just don't see where this makes any sense at all. But, you just got to keep trying. Now, Mr. Speaker, you're in a pretty tough primary battle with your former ally and protege, Susan Simpson. We understand from talking to some people that today is a pretty big day for your campaign to get renominated. And do you have a few big announcements that you'd like to make?
Well, we do have a strong announcement today. All 5 of the Republican members of the Stafford County Board of Supervisors who served with my opponent are today endorsing my campaign. And they're very strongly supporting it. These are people that have worked with her for years on the Stafford County Board, and yet they're supporting me. And I think that means a lot. Their endorsement means a lot. Our campaign has a lot of momentum, and I think this continues. This adds to it. And I think this says a lot about how I've worked over the years to try and build relationships back home, and I've worked very closely with these members of the board on issues that are important to them, and I think they're respectful of that, and I believe that's why, to the person, they're supporting me.
Okay, so they understand that 5 of the supervisors that actually served with Susan Simpson when she was a supervisor have come out today, and they're endorsing your renomination. Is that my understanding?
Yes, that's it exactly. There's 7 members of the Stafford Board. 2 of them, 2 of the current members, did not serve with Susan Simpson.
Right.
These other 5 did. They worked with her on the board for years, and I think it's a strong sign that they're, having worked with her, having worked with me, they're endorsing me.
All right, you would think that if she served with 5 of them, that at least one of them would have backed her. I'm just saying. Okay, now, I was talking to your campaign team earlier in the week, and they were telling me that your organization has knocked on 10,000 doors in your district. That's a lot of doors to knock on. Can you share with me, Mr. Speaker, what some of the typical responses have been and what is on the mind of the people in your district?
Well, and actually, John, we had a press release last week announcing that we knocked on 10,000 doors, and since then we've done well over another 1,000. So we're well over 11,000 doors, and that's the grassroots kind of organization that we've got, and it's very important, particularly in a primary where you're probably going to have a lighter turnout. And we are identifying supporters, and along those lines, I think it's interesting. We probably have 700 signs, yard signs, 4x8 signs out in the district, and I've never had such a strong supply. But when we knock on people's doors and ask if they want a yard sign, a lot of them are saying yes. I had a couple come by my office yesterday to talk about the election and talk about some of the information they've been receiving. And as they left, they took 2 of my yard signs to put them up. And I just think the response that we're getting is very encouraging. Very encouraging. What they're talking about mostly is what you might expect: the economy, jobs, transportation's a huge issue in my district. They're worried about being able to get to work. They're worried about keeping their jobs, and what can we do to help? And I think we've done, over the past several years, we've done a lot, both in helping to improve the economy as well as improve the transportation.
When you're talking to people in your district, Mr. Speaker, do they feel that you've been active in the community, staying in touch, or do they feel that you're somewhat, Speaker of the House, you're in Richmond, doing a lot of fundraisers? Do they feel you're somewhat disconnected, kind of the way they thought that former Majority Leader Mary Keener was?
Not at all. I think mine is a very different situation, as you know, and I say this all the time. The great beauty of our legislative system in Virginia is we're back home in our communities 10 months out of the year. I work. I have a very small law practice, and people don't hesitate if they see my car in the parking lot to come on in and tell me what's good or what's bad. We go to church in the community. Our kids and now our grandkids go to school in the community. I've lived here for nearly 40 years in the community, and I think people know me, and people by and large appreciate what we've been able to do over the past 10 or 15 years.
Common sense. News time on the John Fredericks Show, 7:50. We're with Speaker of the House of Delegates, Bill Howell. Mr. Speaker, you've come under some withering criticism the past several days. Susan Stimson says that, claims that you're a secret ally of a organization called Equality Virginia. Now, this is the PAC that lobbied unsuccessfully to allow unisex bathrooms, if you will, in Stafford County Public, in the Stafford County Public School system that got beat down. Their agenda was, look, gender shouldn't be discriminatory. Look, that's just crazy. Thank God they did lose that battle. But Stimson has been all over the internet and the airwaves saying that you accepted $6,000 in contributions from Equality Virginia. And then she says because of that, you're quietly backing this kind of radical nut job agenda. Stimson has attacked you on this issue for not standing up for families, although when I checked, your record suggests quite the opposite. Can you explain?
Sure. First of all, it's ridiculous what she's saying, and it's not true. As you know, John, I'm 100% pro-life. I'm a proud supporter of traditional marriage. I always have been. I always will be. I have a 98% rating from the Family Foundation. I do a fundraiser the night before we begin the session for my what I call a leadership PAC, and I use the money in this political action committee to help elect Republican members of the House all across Virginia. And it's an open invitation to people coming for a period of years. Equality Virginia would send one person to the event. The $6,000 that I received over a period of years, over that same period of years, we generated about $8 million in the leadership PAC. $6,000 represents 0.000075. It's 75 1/1000ths of 1%. And if their goal was to influence my voting, I'm sure they've been sorely disappointed. Disappointed at the fact that they haven't given me money, haven't come to my event for the last several years. We've elected, as you've mentioned earlier, a supermajority. We've killed every issue that they put forth this year and last year and every year. And it's easy to run campaigns when you know you can say anything you want to and aren't bound by the truth. The truth is, and our caucus remains strongly supportive of traditional marriage, strongly pro-life. I think anybody that works in that field would tell you that. And the fact that that Equality Virginia gave me a relatively small contribution over several years certainly hasn't. You got to remember, John, this is the same person that said I was secretly trying to work a deal with Governor McAuliffe to expand Medicaid. The Washington Post, which doesn't agree with me often at all and wasn't agreeing with me here, said that's crazy. Howell's got 2 positions on Medicaid expansion. Hell no, and over my dead body. It hasn't happened. But they continue to come up with these really crazy, ludicrous ideas, and this is one.
Before you came on yesterday, I checked with the Family Foundation just to be sure that I had this right. You have a 98% rating from the Family Foundation. The only person that has a higher rating is Bob Marshall. So I really don't get where they're going with this. I think when you get a 98% rating from the Family Foundation, you're virtually 100% on family issues. So I kind of agree. Looking at your record, I think some of the criticism on political action committee seems to be not in line with reality.
I certainly agree.
Okay, I've just got to break in for a second. We have breaking news. Senate Minority Leader in Nevada, Harry Reid, says he will not seek re-election. That Justin Harry Reid says he's out 2016. We'll be covering that at the top of the hour. Mr. Speaker, I've only got 2 more minutes. I want to go very quickly. What do you expect on the reconvened session on April 15th?
Well, we're going to have some bills that the governor has amended. Doesn't appear that he's done a whole lot of amendments at this point. And, of course, the big-time consumer has always been the budget, and there won't be any action on the budget because he signed that, and that's a done deal. I think it's going to be a pretty brief reconvened session, sort of an in-and-out deal, which is great. And again, I'm going to go back to what I said initially. I think it really shows how much we can accomplish when Senate Republicans and House Republicans are able to work together in a majority and do what's good for Virginia. And I think we've got a great conservative budget. I think we passed a lot of great legislation this year dealing with everything from K-12 reform to ethics reform to higher education, and it's been a good year.
Well, look, whenever you can pass a budget with a supermajority and cut $1 billion out of discretionary spending, no tax increases, I would say you guys did a pretty good job, and I think the way you engaged the governor going through the process paid off. I mean, it's shocking that he sent this back with no adjustments, no amendments, no anything, because this is a pretty conservative plan that you guys put together. And Mr. Speaker, we're out of time. I want to thank you for being with us. For our listeners out there, if you want more information on the re-election campaign of Speaker Bill Howell, you can find it. Go to williamjhowell.org, williamjhowell.org. Mr. Speaker, as always, thanks for being with us, sir.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate your candor, as always.
Well, I really appreciate being on the show. Thanks so much.